I'm here with Ken Hardy, Professor Emeritus, Richard Ivey School of Business, discussing his new course, Learning from Leaders, and how it helps develop leadership skills. Do you think leadership skills can be learned? And if so, how can learning from leaders help?
Don, I'm absolutely convinced leadership skills can be learned. I think we see little children exhibiting leadership tendencies, but those tendencies get honed in school, in scouts, in reports, brownies, sports, and so forth. And so by the time they get here, a lot of people have some practice in leadership.
What are your goals with the Learning from Leaders course?
Well, what I want to do in the Learning from Leaders course is to expose the students to excellent examples of leadership. And these are successful people in business and government. And I want them to get a framework for how they'll prepare themselves for leadership and understand that it's a responsibility, that it requires a lot of work. And then I want them to, in fact, pursue leadership. In the meantime, at the end of the course, they're going to write a 10-page personal plan for leadership.
I understand the structure of the course is modeled after the old Bravo television series Inside the Actor's Studio. Why is this structure effective?
Well, it isn't quite modeled, but it was certainly sparked by Inside the Actor's Studio, and there's some significant changes. What I like so much about Inside the Actor's Studio is they bring in the Paul Newmans of the world and major figures who are just undeniably successful as actors. And I thought, let's do the same thing. Let's bring them in. But the main difference is let's let the students ask the questions rather than me, because this will hone their further skills in asking questions and observing.
Have a wide range of leaders participating?
An incredibly wide range. Our yesterday's visitor was Shelley Jameson, who's Secretary to Cabinet in the Ontario government, so a very senior governmental leader. And the other people have been James Irving, scion of a major family in the Maritimes business. And so we've got all kinds of people. Scott Beattie, head of Elizabeth Arden. And this year, we're going to have an HBA student, Winston Bennett, who's only been out about 7 years, but who's already carved himself a very successful career.
How do you know if a leader is a good fit?
Well, I look at their backgrounds and I ask people who know them, would this be a suitable person? I also look at how long they've been practicing. So I actually think of people who've been out 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, and 5 years. And so I have them placed in the course in terms of the amount of experience and leadership they've practiced.
Tell me about some of the highlights of the course.
There have been a lot of memorable moments. What I appreciate most sincerely, and so do the students, is that these leaders, these enormously successful people, will tell everything. They'll tell about the hardships, the heartaches, as well as all the successes. And it's this format of a confidential trust environment with the students asking the questions and the leaders wanting to give. And part of the giving is, in this climate, they can tell about their mistakes. So one was, for example, Shelley Jameson was being considered for Secretary for the Cabinet, and she'd been a deputy minister, and she knew how hard deputy ministers work. Now she was going to be the chief deputy minister, and she thought, I don't want to work 24/7. So she told the Premier, McGuinty, and she thought, oops, there goes my job. But to his credit, he said, family comes first. And so she leveled, and she was further considered and got the job.
Why is it important for students to hear about leaders' mistakes and challenges?
Well, they do need to know that leaders make mistakes, but so that they're not afraid of making mistakes themselves. And then when their own employees make mistakes, they're much more forgiving and see it as a coaching opportunity, a learning opportunity, rather than something that deserves punishment.
How does the analytical component of the course help to develop character building in next generation leaders?
There is quite a bit of analytical work in the course where they learn about key concepts such as planning, preparation for their career, emotional intelligence, so-called getting out on the balcony, which is to have a vision of where they want to take their organization, all these key things that good leaders have. But I think what they really learn is character from the people they see. And every one of them says hard work, honesty, and getting along with people. Those are the things you have to be a real leader.